Everyone, welcome back to this episode of Father Knows Something. It's Morgan and I tonight.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that this is right before we all start leaving to go on our little tour.
The last leg of our tour. So we're in what I call chaos mode.
Hyper mode.
Oh, man. It's just like, it's crazy right now. I got a horse this past weekend and I had him in my backyard until I could find somewhere to board him because the old owner said, get him out. And then we have to move completely out of our house because the floors were messed up. So we have a pod and we are moving out and I'm not done yet. And I have a 12 p.m.
12 a.m.
Well, a.m. Yeah.
Middle
12
of the
a.m.
night.
A red eye to Minnesota for our live show. So today is chaos mode.
Well, I don't compare to your problems. So I'm not even going to bring up mine.
I mean, everyone's problems are still valid just because yours aren't as crazy.
Oh,
What is up with those socks? Do you know what that is?
I think it's a falcon.
No, Dad, that's Jigsaw. You don't like horror movies.
I don't like horror movies.
That's the character from the movie Saw. He murders people.
Oh, really? I thought it was a falcon.
A bird?
Yeah.
Dude, no, that's Jigsaw.
Well, we're gonna have to get rid of
I can't believe you keep wearing those.
We're gonna have to cut Jigsaw off.
Yeah, you might.
We're gonna have to kill him.
You could let someone lick them and then give
You're
them
on
away.
that lick 'em thing.
Someone told me.
No.
Someone told me you licked them.
No, I did not.
Or they licked your socks.
Whatever they did after I gave them the sock, I have no idea. But there are crazy people sometimes out there in the world, so you never know.
Never know.
All right,
Okay.
let's dig in. What's the theme tonight?
Theme today is getting screwed over.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
Yeah.
I feel that a lot.
These people might. We'll see. We'll see. Some of them are really clear. Some of them not so much. So we'll see what we
You
think.
gotta be brave. Expectations and accountabilities.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Okay, story number 1. Hello, Morgan, Jerry, Justin, and Holly. Sorry for the length, but I will try to summarize it as best I can. I, 25 female, bought a car in February of 2021. It was probably the worst decision I made in my life. In hindsight, I should have looked into the vehicle more and shouldn't have bought in it so quickly. The dealership told me it was a great car and it had been inspected. That was very far from the truth.
Imagine that.
The day after I bought it, my master cylinder failed, so my brakes completely went out. I called the dealership and they asked me to drive it there with no brakes.
Really?
I ended up having to tow it there out of pocket because I couldn't drive it safely without brakes. When I towed it there, they told me I could buy the extended warranty for $2,300. Luckily, I had just gotten my taxes back, so I was able to pay it, and they sent it to a shop they work with to have it fixed. After that was fixed, a string of other issues went wrong, including my motor mounts were cracked, causing my engine to almost fall out of the car. There were mismatched tires on the car, so my drivetrain was damaged severely, timing belt snapped, etc., etc., etc. My car is essentially a box with wheels. It has been sitting in the shop for 8 months. My extended warranty will only cover the MSRP of my vehicle, and since I've used it up, it will only cover the transmission. The engine would cost me $12,000 to replace. As for the next issue, I still owe $14,000 on my loan. I am now 3 months behind on my car payment because in August I went on maternity leave and my job was given to someone else. I am an insurance agent and my ex-boss wanted me to go work for another agent, but I had to turn the job down because it was 15 minutes from where I live and I have no car. The job I had was a 5-minute walk. I've been serving at a restaurant in the meantime, trying to make ends meet. I have been looking for a lawyer to sue the dealership that sold me this car. This car could have killed me and my family. I've reached out to the dealership many times and they have ghosted me. What would you do in this situation? I don't have any connections to lawyers and have called around to so many places and nobody will take on a case like this. I don't know what to do about my loan and it is ruining my credit and the bank calls me almost every day. I feel like everything that could go wrong has, and I'm at a loss. Anything else? The dealership was 20 minutes out of town. I wasn't taking off from a side street when my brakes went out with a stop sign in front of me, so I was able to quickly reverse and park when I realized I didn't have brakes. There are lemon laws in the state I live in, but my car does not qualify due to mileage and age. It's a 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee with 146,000 miles.
Grand Cherokees in that year also had a problem with their transmissions, and that's a whole different story. When you buy a used car, I was once a used car dealer, and it is hard. And my policy was always, tell me what you want, and I'll buy the car for you at the auction. But you're buying a wild card. And when someone tells you the car has been inspected and it's this and it's that, anytime you have a car that has mileage, there's every moving component in those bearings that wear out. So it's sadly enough, buyer beware. The fact that you paid too much for the car, you were emotional when you saw it, you didn't take the chance to really go take it to a mechanic, have them and expect it as a independent source. That's all hindsight. You might be better off at this time to go to the bank and say, I'm giving you the car, and
let them deal with it
and walk away from it. I don't know if you can even do it without.
How does that impact your credit, though?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I mean, there's so many things that need to be done on this car, and without knowing it, I mean, if you came to me with this, the first thing I would do is I say, give me the car and let me go tear into it and see what all the things are and what we have to fix. So we would know how to tackle it.
Yeah.
When you threw the car into reverse to stop the car, that could have easily damaged your transmission right there, right off the bat.
No. She said she was able to slowly stop and quickly reverse. That has nothing to do with the transmission.
I thought she threw it into.
No.
So the answer really is that there is a lot of mechanical stuff that you have to deal with, and you need to be able to get somebody that you can trust, that you can really go through it and really identify all of everything is. You do have a problem. You do have a claim on the representation from the dealer, what he told you, what you were buying. And finding a lawyer to take that on contingency, I don't know if you're going to do any good. But
you can still go to small claims court yourself.
But up to $5,000.
So how do you prosecute someone when it's not small claims court?
You got to file it. You got to file a suit, and if you're not a lawyer, they're going to have a lawyer. Every dealer does have they're going to have their general counsel, and you're going to file something. But you need someone to be strong enough to bully them to say, we're going to unwind this deal and we're going to take this thing back. And I mean, whatever money you put into it, I mean, you got thousands of dollars already with the insurance policy and deductibles and all kinds of stuff. And, what they did is they took a problem that they had. They immediately sold you a policy with it already broken. And they probably misrepresented to the insurance company.
Well, their extended warranty is probably an in-house extended warranty.
No. Those extended warranty companies are outside, but they track and they grade the retailer on their performance. But the fact that they probably backdated that policy.
Maybe there's some fraud going on there.
There is fraud. So
Potentially.
Mm-hmm. So you may have them on fraud if you call up and look at the date that they said that that they bought the policy when the car was sold, because no insurance company is going to sell a policy on a car that's already broken.
Or having issues the way this one was.
That's right. So there might be some fraud there that you might be able to get, because fraud is 3 times damages, and then now you have a criminal. Now you have a felony on them for the fraud. And if it was done with anything with mail, it's mail fraud on top of it. So you can really bully them with that, but you're going to need a lawyer to come to probably help you with that.
Or try to bluff. Say, these are the dates. You have fraud. Yeah. You can go at them and say, I know what you did. I'm going to be contacting the insurance company if you don't make this right. Mm-hmm. I would also get on social media, record yourself talking on, tell about your story. I got this car from dealership XYZ. The day after I got it, the brakes went out. I could have died. And then not only the brakes.
They told me to drive it with the bad
They told
brake.
me to drive it there. And then they sold me a $2,300 warranty that doesn't do shit because the whole thing fell apart. And I'm now out this money. Like, get on social media, on TikTok, tell your story and see what can happen. Literally send it to us. I will repost it on my end and hopefully that boosts it out there. But it's amazing what social media can do and the power of bad reviews. Leave bad reviews. Have everyone you know leave them a bad review, because damage control and public image might make them make it right.
Yeah, but I would certainly look at do the history on the car with Carfax. Try to see with much information you can get on that car from that VIN, and then the date of the insurance company because the insurance company did pay off for a period of time until they got sick of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had some of these issues, I know that the insurance retailer actually canceled my ability of being a dealer for them because my cars were really, a lot of them were going through them and was costing them more money. So they did a study and said, this guy buys crappy cars, don't go near him. And I wasn't really intending on buying crappy cars. So we thought we were buying decent cars and good cars, but when I would sell the policy, the first thing that my clients did was take those policies and they rode that horse all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And it does come back to blemish you.
Yeah, well, and I'm just trying to Google too, like what happens when you give the car back to the bank. You could expect your credit to take a big hit, maybe 100 points or more. But honestly, like maybe contacting your bank and saying, hey,
there's a fraud.
We were sold a really bad car. They misrepresented what it was. Me and you are both like, you're the lender for this, you're guaranteeing this, and we were both screwed over. So is there any way you would work with me to go after the dealer to make this right so we're both not hurt at the end of the day?
Maybe.
If it's a small credit union, you might have some luck with that.
I believe that those aftermarket insurance companies that I was using was called Wix, W-I-X. And I don't know if you have a Wix policy or a different policy, but they are the guys that really operate in good faith. They get caught up with these slime balls as well.
Yeah.
So I'd find out on the date and just to go establish if there was a fraud
That's a good
involved. And then you have the power of Wix behind you a little bit better.
Or whoever the provider was.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
I'd be interested if it was from a third party or if it was genuinely from the dealership. And this is another way they're scamming people.
Yeah, I don't think dealerships do it. There's always an aftermarket seller of these auto policies.
Well, please let us know what you have. Keep us posted. I really hope this works out for you. And again, get on socials, make the video, leave the bad reviews, and tell us what dealer it is. In the comments, when you see this, when you hear this come out, please let us know what you did and update everyone and let us know what the dealership is, because we have a little army of people here and I'm down to leave a bad review because this is not acceptable. So yeah, go on YouTube and leave the comment. Let us know what dealer this is and how we can help.
Yeah, I was just curious the VIN number.
Oh, you want maybe message Dad on Instagram.
Message me on Instagram and let me just see what's going on.
Go on Carfax. Okay, moving along.
Okay, go ahead. Number 2.
I could really use your help. Hi, Jerry, Morgan, and Justin. I, female 25, have been secretly dating my best friend, male 23, for the past 4.5 years. I was originally his manager at work, and we had a friendship that accidentally turned romantic. He worked there for a year before we started dating, and I ended up quitting a year after that because I was embarrassed and worried someone would find out. I have actually tried to break up a couple of times because I am ashamed, but our lives are intertwined and it is complicated. Now I run a business with his mom, and he works for both of us. Our relationship is still a secret. He was going through depression when our friendship started and was a high school dropout. He has promised me every year that he was going to finish school. I'm encouraging, but trying not to be pushy. I feel like it's gotten to a point where I feel like I can't see a future, and I'm tired of having to be a support to him and his family all the time. I feel suffocated. I've told him all of this and that I'm not happy in our relationship anymore, and he either starts to get emotional or quiet and just doesn't respond. I don't want to work with his mom anymore as she's a bit toxic and uses me for a variety of projects outside of work. My boyfriend tells me to not let her walk all over me, but it's hard because she doesn't understand the boundaries and feels hurt when I do try to create this space. Ideal outcome would be to amicably part from him, but I am scared and don't know how to take that step. I feel like this is not a healthy relationship anymore, and I don't want either of us to waste our time. It is going to be messy with the business. Should I give up the business and put it in his name? Additional info. The business is using her clients, but I just created a business and insurance to make it legitimate and help get more business. I don't have any family support, so giving up this business would mean starting over. His mom doesn't want the business in her name because she gets food stamps and benefits. I pay her portion in cash.
Man, this thing seems really, really mucky. And the fact that you're playing the game with stamps and you're playing, all this other stuff, I would get myself clean and get legitimate. Just walk away from all this. It's just, there's no win in any aspect of any of this stuff.
No. And it's, I always find a hard time with secret relationships. When you're dating someone for 4.5 years and you're still a secret, that's just icky.
I didn't get that one either.
Yeah. I mean, you're not really dating if you're a secret. That's just where my head goes. But I do think you've been taken advantage of. I mean, you're paying the mom out in cash. She's still getting government benefits. It's fraud. You could be
Liable?
Screwed over for that. You could face charges and potentially paying back those damages. I get it's tough to feel like you're starting over, but you've now learned these skills. You can close this business, or because it's in your name, just say, hey, we're separating. I'm going to go my own way, but you can keep your clients. However, you need to open up your own business in your name. I'm no longer doing that. And separate. You're 25, and I've myself really struggled with this. It's kind of that age where you're transitioning from being a kid, 18, 20s, young adult, and you're 25. You're a mature adult. You have to be able to advocate for yourself and set boundaries with other adults. And it can be really challenging to define your role and kind of claim that.
Are you learning a lot now?
I struggle with it sometimes where I feel, I've just small stuff where, you get in line at a store and someone cuts in front of you and you're still like, well, they're older than me. I'm just not going to advocate for myself. I still struggle with small stuff like that, but you are 25. This is your business. You've been doing her a big favor and putting yourself at risk. And it's time to just stop and separate yourself. This is not a healthy dynamic at all.
Muddy, yucky, sticky.
Yeah. And you could really be screwed over. Like genuinely, the government could come after you.
Yeah. Especially because you even acknowledging there's some stuff that is not normal. So do yourself a favor. Get out of all this stuff and get yourself clean and legit and where you don't have to live a life in secrecy, and find a way of living healthy mentally and with all the things that go along with it.
Well, and like you're 25. People start over at 30. They start over at 40. They start over at 50 and 55, sometimes 60. So you have so much ahead of you, and take these skills you've learned and now do it right, legitimately, and don't get yourself embedded in this.
You ready for the word? That's the end of this chapter. That's all.
Yeah, it's just moving on to bigger and better things.
We're going to the next chapter.
I will say something that does concern me is you say, I have actually tried to break up a couple of times. Breaking up, if you feel that you are unsafe, there's resources you can call. Have a friend with you, drop his stuff off. I am done. Do not contact me. If it's that unsafe. But if you ever and for those listening, you can break up with people and it doesn't have to be a mutual decision. If you want to be done, be done. You don't need them to say, okay. You don't need their permission to break up with someone. You can literally say, we are breaking up. This is no longer a healthy relationship. We are done.
Right.
No response needed.
I feel your trigger, and I understand where you're coming from on that one with an abusive relationship.
Yeah, it's concerning.
I'm reading that with you. I have also had relationships where I went to go break up with somebody and they said, oh, no, we shouldn't break up.
I'll do anything.
Well, we got to try.
We can make it better.
And sometimes that in those cases as well, when you know it's over, you just have to really say it's over because you end up there again for some reason. And the few times that has happened in my life and I've given that extra shot, it's cost me an extra year where I could have passed by the right person in that chapter for the next chapter.
Maybe limited yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, call a close to this chapter cleanly, concisely, and just say, this is time to move on. We've played this out and I wish you luck, and grab your strawberries and your lunch and your peanut butter jelly sandwich and out the door and go start over.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Moving along. One of this week's partners is Hungry Root. Is anyone else struggling to eat healthy, or is it just me? For me, I feel like I'm struggling with time. I don't have time to prepare these healthy meals, and when I do have the time, I don't want to spend all of it cooking, which is why I love Hungry Root. Hungry Root is the easiest way to eat healthy. They send you fresh, high-quality groceries, simple recipes, and essential supplements right to your door. It has actually felt like I have a personal assistant for grocery shopping and healthy living. All of my needs are being met by taking a short, simple quiz, but I can also customize it. So if they pop something in my order that I'm not into, I just take it out. For example, they put a breakfast sausage option in mine, not into it. So I changed it out for some healthy oats instead. And honestly, Hungry Root crushes breakfast, which for me is the hardest meal of the day to eat. I'm racing around in the morning. I'd rather enjoy my extra 10 minutes of sleep than get up and cook. So having easy, simple grab and go options is so key for me. And I love that Hungry Root follows a simple standard. It's got to taste good, be quick to make, and contain whole, trusted ingredients. So if you're ready to try it, right now, Hungry Root is offering Father Knows Something listeners 40% off your first delivery and free veggies for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/FKS to get 40% off your first delivery and get those free veggies. That's hungryroot.com/FKS. Don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you. What number?
We're going on 3 now.
Okay. Hello, Jerry, Morgan, Justin, and Holly. Thank you guys so much for running this podcast. I'd like your advice on an issue that's been weighing on me for years.
Years, you say?
I, 20 female, had a best friend from ages 9 to 18. I'll call her A, 20 female. We were inseparable for years, and over the summer, we spent more time together than not. We were a part of a friend group of 4 through middle school and high school, and we were all super close. After our senior year, we all went for a vacation, and it was one, if not the best trip I've ever been on. We all got matching tattoos. There was no sign of A acting off during this trip, but once we got home, we started hearing from her and seeing her a lot less. The rest of us assumed this was due to the fact that we were about to leave for college, and it was a very busy time. Once we were in college, we didn't hear from her at all. I only found out that she's had a boyfriend after they broke up, and they'd already been dating for months. She's never been a super open person, so I was used to not hearing about serious events in her life right away. I never asked her when I knew something was up because I always knew she would tell me when she was ready. This time, though, she didn't. A stopped texting in our group chat as well, and we would only hear from her when we reached out directly. After a while, though, we wouldn't hear from her then either. We didn't see her over the summer after our freshman year once we were all home, and when we asked her if she was around, she would give us excuses that we knew were lies. The summer after sophomore year, I reached out to A and asked what happened between us and explained that I cared about her and missed her a lot. All of her responses were very short, and she responded that she didn't know what I was talking about, despite the fact that we had not seen each other in well over a year. I know that A has struggled with her mental health as well as her home life. Her relationship with her mom in particular has caused issues with our friendship in the past. During our senior year of high school, A's mom found a stash of weed and alcohol in her room, and A told her mom that it was mine. It wasn't the lie that upset me. She knows that I am very open with my parents about this topic. A, on the other hand, is terrified of her mom and always has been. When her mom first found her stash, A was frantic, telling me and our other friends that we didn't understand and that her mom was, quote, going to beat her. This wasn't the first time she'd made comments like this to us. However, the situation spiraled out of control. Her mom called mine and began accusing me of being a bad influence on A, and my parents of enabling my bad behavior, it evolved into a screaming match that got very heated. The animosity between them is so intense that even 2 years after the incident, A's mom was seated at a table beside my parents at a restaurant and asked to be moved. None of them can stand to be in the same room. This situation hurt me so much because even as her mom cursed me up and down for being a bad influence on A, she never told her mom the truth. We were able to recover our friendship from this and went on vacation together several months after, but it still always bothered me. A's mom rules her life with an iron fist, and I know that if it came down to it, she would always choose maintaining a positive relationship with her mom over having one with me at all. I can't help but wonder if this is the reason for the abrupt ending to our friendship. I know that I can't force her to be friends with me if she doesn't want to be, but when I think about the future, it really hurts to not imagine my lifelong friend in it. I've tried asking her directly about what the issue is, but she just pretends nothing is weird. We went from being best friends to strangers so fast, but there was nothing that I can think of that happened. I cannot overstate how close of friends we were. At times, we felt more like sisters. I just don't know what else I can do, or if there is anything else I can do. I know our other friends feel the same way. Any advice is greatly appreciated.
Do you have the answer on this one?
I feel like your experience is probably better. You got it.
I think your friendship has to just take a pause and you have to walk from it right now. She could be suffering from abuse in that home, and there's nothing you're going to do because you've tried all the right things. And at this point, you just have to just give her the space. And if she ever shows up, you can open your arms and have that discussion at that time. But right now, you just can't keep pushing yourself in front of her. So move on with your life is all you can do. I'm sorry to be so easy to say that, but I don't think it's healthy for you to keep sitting here beating your head against the wall. You know, she's obviously affected by something, and she's not fessing up to whatever it is. And she's certainly not looking to have your back in it. So just, you need to walk away for right now.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of additional info. My friends and I are all worried about A's well-being more than anything. It scares me not knowing if she's okay. Her mom withholds affection from A, and she has been desperate to get it since we were kids. Her dad isn't in the picture. I don't think this situation is just a case of friends growing apart. A didn't seem like she was doing well mentally our freshman year, and I've seen through social media that she lost a lot of weight. I know that A only made one friend through our first and second years of college, and we were her closest friends by far growing up. It really scares me to think of her going through a rough time with no one to turn to. The sad reality is, though, she had you guys to turn to.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, whatever is going on, she just feels that hunkering down or closing herself off is the safest bet or what is working for her.
And I don't think she wants an intervention from you guys to go, she's just not responding to you at all. She's not opening for that even a little bit. So
I don't think there's much you can do when, a friend is choosing to not engage. Like, you guys have extended olive branch after, olive branch. You've invited her, you've reached out, and friendships are two-way streets. So I think you could, have one last conversation and just be like, hey, I just want you to know, whatever you're going through, I am here for you. Like, I'm always a phone call away, and continue to invite her when you do group stuff, but don't be hurt when she doesn't come.
Do you write her a letter and say that, or do you go try?
I would text her or call her. I mean, you could ask like, hey, would you want to meet up for lunch and have that conversation over lunch? But if you can't get that far, send her a message so she knows. But, some people, they just handle mental health struggles in their own way, and closing off is sometimes easier. So
sad.
It's hard because it sounds like she has such a great group of friends that want to support her, but there could be a lot going on at home that you don't know. And I don't think I would hold any resentment towards her for not telling her mom that the stash was yours.
I agree with that.
Take the hit for your friend. Like, your parents didn't sound like they cared. Let it go. Like, she needed that for her safety. Who cares if her mom ever knows that it was actually hers? Like, who cares?
I'm with you.
You never have to see your mom. It's not your mom. So let that go. I mean,
and your parents are smart enough to recognize that it wasn't you.
yeah, it sounds like you have a great relationship with your parents and have that level of communication and honesty. So just let it go. Look at yourself as like you're in a place of privilege where you don't have to deal with A's crazy mom, and she needed that for her safety, and it's not a big deal.
But I feel for you in the pain you're going through just worrying about your friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm sure we'll get write-ins on this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. I was really, really close with my high school friends and middle school, but like some of my friends were my best friends since third grade, elementary school until high school. And, you know, as you move through life and go to college and spread out,
some of those friendships change.
They definitely change. And it doesn't mean that, you know, because you're communicating a lot less that your friendship needs to end, but it just changes. And keep trying to make the effort if you want to, but it's okay that life changes and you get new friends and grow closer with some and not others.
And let her know exactly what you said. We're here.
We're here.
We're here.
Yeah.
We know that something's going on with you and you're not ready to talk about it, but we're here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's
go to number 4.
Moving along. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. We all are carrying around stress, whether it's big or small, but when we don't deal with our stress in positive ways, I myself am guilty, we can bottle it up and really let it affect us negatively, which is where therapy could come in. Therapy can be a safe space to get things off your chest and work with someone who's a little neutral, who can teach you some positive coping strategies. And if you're thinking about therapy and just don't know where to begin, try BetterHelp. It is entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just fill out a brief questionnaire and can get matched with a licensed therapist. And one thing I really value is that you can switch therapists at any time at no additional charge. It's so important to recognize that therapy could be like making friends or dating. You might not click with the first therapist. In the past, I have loved online therapy. I love how convenient it is. It fits my schedule when I wanted to. I can take my sessions wherever I want, whether that's in a car or a park. It's so easy to make sure I'm keeping up with my mental health. So if you're ready to try it for yourself, get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/FKS today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/FKS.
What number is this?
4, I think.
That's right.
Yeah,
Number
4
4.
fingers. Hi, FKS fam. I love listening to you guys. Thanks for reading my submission. I don't know how to start this, but here goes nothing. I, female 30, have been married to my husband, male 30, for almost 10 years. We knew each other in high school and were introduced by a friend. We were very in tune with each other and were very serious early on, to the point where we were married after a year of dating. We were together 3 years before he cheated the first time and another 3 years before he emotionally cheated with his ex-girlfriend the second time. I can't seem to forgive him, and I can't get over this feeling of betrayal, which has left me feeling alone. I don't like it. I want to be held and loved. I want to feel comfortable in my partner's arms. But when I try with my husband, it doesn't feel the same anymore. I feel distant. There's a lot of backstory to our fights, and I admit I have acted crazy in the past, but I have never cheated, emotionally or otherwise. I just don't have it in me. I wish I did, but I'm just too chicken and not heartless enough to drag someone else into this shit show that is my marriage. I can't afford to live alone in this economy, and I am a mom, so I don't want to put my kids in that kind of stressful situation either. I don't want a broken home, but it's shattered nonetheless. He doesn't care about us. He can go days without speaking to me and not care at all. He leaves for work trips and goes MIA for reasons that don't make sense, or just no reason at all. His justification for not telling me, quote, "You won't believe me anyways." How do I do it? How do I push my feelings aside? How do I cope? Ideal outcome, to be able to move past my longing for a relationship that won't happen anytime soon. Additional info, I don't hate my husband. I do still care for him, but whenever he's away and I do give in to the urge to call him, I am quickly reminded why I am constantly upset with him. His lack of care and nonchalant, "What's up?" His, quote, "Well, you didn't call me, so," kill me. I've expressed my feelings over and over again to him, and he does not care. His mentality is, if I'm not trying, then I guess we're not trying. Wow. That was really hard to submit.
Look, once upon a time in a century long, long ago, there was a fairy tale where you and your husband actually really did find passion with one another. And for that, you got married. You continued dating. And all of a sudden, things changed. And I really do think that maybe therapy might be the right direction for you guys as a last ditch to really try to see if you guys can both find where these spikes, these darts are coming from, where you're throwing them at one another, and maybe get beyond it, because it's usually a ton of muck that's been buried that causes this anger and frustration and bitterness, and it builds and builds and builds, and before it's so toxic, it becomes a waste dump. And if you can get through and clean up the swamp, and I'm talking in metaphors, obviously, but if you can really work with a counselor that can help you get through all this and get it all back in check where it might be, maybe you guys can save your marriage. Maybe you can find it again and find the love for one another that he won't try to escape by going on a trip or away with whomever or whatever, just to get away from you so he can have, his life. The fact that you have children, and you don't want to give this life up, gives it that one last hope. If you really guys give it your best, maybe you can find each other and your love can become deeper. And if not, then you'll know. And you take the next direction. I
think that only works if you have two willing participants.
That's right.
But you don't here.
We don't know. We have to really...
I think it's in my head, and maybe obviously our writer can interpret our conversation, and decide. But to me, he is so checked out of this marriage, of this life. I mean, to not call, to disappear without reason. I think he's checked out. And I think you could try therapy, but I think it's going to be pulling teeth.
Well, it's a try, and then you can always go to the next step. It didn't work, and let's move on and let's get divorced and give this relationship the dignity it deserves in our lives and move on.
I think if this were me, I would be done. You have someone who very clearly does not want to be with you, does not want to be married with you, does not put any effort or love or kindness into your relationship.
I got all that.
And I think staying for the kids, wrong reason. I think you could, he's traveling for work a lot. 50-50 custody would be tough. I think you could very easily amicably split and still share a housing arrangement. I do think some people can go from being in a relationship to being roommates. If you clearly define boundaries and expectations, I think it could be achievable until you have the ability to get your own place and have your independence.
Yeah, I hear every bit of that, and I agree with 99%. The only 1% I don't think that I'm totally on board yet is that there is so much toxicity in the relationship, is to first try to disarm the mousetrap and see if there's any possibility or interest to try to save it. If he has no interest and there is no interest, then you go for the divorce and the legal separation.
Yeah.
And then you can define those boundaries.
Yeah. And the ideal outcome, I think, is what makes me probably the most sad and frustrated. Ideal outcome, to be able to move past my longing for a relationship that won't happen anytime soon. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be respected, to be communicated with, to not be cheated on. I mean, she's been cheated on now twice. If not,
I got all that.
How every time he disappears, and I'm sure he's fucking around. You deserve that. And you don't have to put your life on hold because you have kids and, it's easier to stay. You don't. You deserve to be happy and loved and fulfilled. And you can give therapy a shot and see if you can get him back checked in. But if it doesn't work,
be ready to be. Then I say, get the ball, roll it down the alley lane, and knock those pins over.
Yeah, get on with your life. You're 30. You're so young. Get on with your life and finding the person that makes you happy and loves you. Because to be loved is...
It's great.
It's incredible.
It's the right thing.
I mean, you can find someone who will be a good step parent and raise your kids and have, a bonus parent and even more support, and they still get their dad. And maybe he's even a better dad because he's not, dealing with whatever emotional turmoil he's dealing with.
I'm just interested to see what has happened in this couple's life that have gotten two people to be so toxic and one of them to check out so much. If that's just his behavior, then yes, you need to move on. But if it's something else,
they got together when they were 20.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are not a full-fledged formed person at 20, and they could have just outgrown each other. Easy as that.
You definitely have a few decisions to make.
Yeah, but you don't deserve this. I mean, this is absurd. If my boyfriend now, because I know now what I'm worth, but if my boyfriend, fiance, partner, husband disappeared and didn't tell me, didn't call, didn't write, didn't ask how the kids are doing, done. You don't deserve that.
Absolutely not.
Okay, moving along. Another one of this week's partners is Lumi. Summer's here, which means more sweating, hot, sticky, gross. And I'm a sweater. Anything over 70 degrees, I'm getting gross. But you know what keeps me from not being smelly, not subjecting others to my BO? Lumi, baby. I took my horse for a 45-minute walk the other day, you guys, and it was hot. I was sweating. But you know what I didn't forget to put on? My Lumi deodorant. And you know what else I didn't do? I didn't stink. Thanks to Lumi. Lumi works up to 72 hours, and you can use it everywhere, from your pits to your privates, your feet, wherever you want to throw it. Lumi works. I've even been asked what perfume I'm wearing when it's just been Lumi. It smells that good. I also love that Lumi is baking soda free, paraben free, and comes in a bunch of other convenient items, like the wipes. Keep them in your bag, so if you do forget your morning deodorant or you just want to freshen up, you got them, and you smell so good after. Lumi's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off their starter pack. Use code FKS for 15% off your first purchase at LumiDeodorant.com. That's code FKS at LumiDeodorant.com. Trigger warning for this next story, you guys. If you are listening around little ones, little ears, we do talk about our friends up in the North Pole, Santa. So it would be a very good story to skip if you got any kids listening. Okay, here's your time to find your fast forward button or end the episode, I guess, because it's the last story. So bye if you're done. What number?
This is going to be number 5.
Number 5.
Goes like this.
Oh, yeah, one hand needed. What if you only had 4 fingers on a hand, though?
Then you go like this.
Yeah, it'd be challenging.
But then they might get confused when they see this.
That doesn't look right when you hold it up like that.
So you got to hold it like this?
I don't know. I don't like it.
How many is this?
5, but it's hard to count when it's, don't like it. Nope, stop. Hi, Dad, Morgan, Justin, and Holly. Something I, female 32, have been struggling with is how do I transition from being Santa, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, etc. I have 2 children, male 12 and female 8, and I've recently started to have guilt about upholding these beliefs as I have chosen to raise my children with transparency and honesty at an age-appropriate level. I've always encouraged the kids to be truthful regardless of the fear of consequences, as we discuss learning from mistakes, and honesty about mistakes being more important than the mistake itself. I tell them, regardless of what happens, I am their mother and my love is unconditional, that if they come to me with any problem, I will support them through the situation. My son no longer believes in Santa and company. However, he has never stated this. I believe to not ruin the fun for his little sister. I know that he gets it at this age, but the problem lies with my daughter. She is extremely smart. She understands social context. She can intuitively tell when someone is down and even picks up on microaggressions and small nuances. For several years, watching any movie, she can use context clues and guess the entire movie in the first 30 minutes and is always spot on. She will listen to a Justin Bieber song and dissect the lyrics to understand the meaning. Her mind amazes me. Despite nothing getting by her, she full-heartedly believes in all of the typical holiday-related characters and puts a lot of effort into trying to make friends with these characters. Her enthusiasm is the sweetest thing, but lately, I've been feeling very guilty about lying to her about these things. I feel that when she does find out, she will be angry with me for not being honest. She puts so much effort into this, it does give me a lot of anxiety. For example, if she loses a tooth, she will write a lengthy, well-written letter to the tooth fairy and expects a response. Not just one, multiple notes and questions, pictures and gifts, etc. The elf on the shelf is an absolute nightmare for me. Now that she is 8, I know this will likely be the last year she believes in these things, and I don't know how to explain to her that none of these things are real, and it has been me the whole time, responding to her notes and creating these experiences for her. I feel more guilty because I have made such a point in my household to be truthful and that I will never lie to my children. Knowing her, she will be angry and feel that I've lied to her. Do you have any suggestions on how to approach this conversation and explain why a parent would do this? My parents and I parent very differently, and the advice you give on this podcast totally aligns with my point of view as well. So I feel if anyone, you'll be able to help. Thank you.
Thank you. You raised the bar pretty high.
Yeah. But this little girl could feel very screwed over, you know?
You know, I have a daughter. Some of you may not know that is pretty smart. And as a child, she was definitely very, very, very aware what's going on. And I had some tooth fairy issues with her. But at the end of the day, I will tell you that they enjoy these characters. And yeah, you could say that, you're the tooth fairy and you're inspired. The tooth fairy is a magical spirit. And that magical spirit gave you the spirit to continue the folklore or the story. And I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And although I am mom, I too am a representative of the tooth fairy. And I am too the representative of Santa Claus because it is a spirit that has been put into me. And
do you feel like that's even a little manipulative though? That spirit's been put into me.
Well, let me tell you something. Something entered my body when I wrote you a letter. Dear Morgan, I'm sorry that I can't give you the normal $20 I gave you for your first tooth. That was so beautiful and so perfect. But I can't do anything with this tooth that has all the holes in it. So that's why I only can give you 50 cents. So I can show it to other kids to make sure.
What not to do with your teeth.
What not to do with your teeth.
I just got weak teeth.
So I did keep that tooth and all the letters and notes I wrote to her. And when she turned about, I don't know how old you were, I let you see them and have them. And you got the enjoyment of what I did. I don't think for a second you were mad that I played the tooth fairy because you already knew the answer. Most kids already tell their kids the answer. But if you want to be proactive, you can certainly use the fact that the spirit thought came into you because that's what came into me. I didn't walk around before you pretending I was the tooth fairy with any of my friends.
Yeah, I think there's a better way to say it, though.
Okay.
I think
you share with me because you're going to be a mom one day.
Well, and here's the thing. I know Justin was very, very affected by an experience he had regarding Santa. And his parents, kind of in this same sense, went above and beyond to make him believe in it and the magic surrounding it. Mm-hmm. And so, Justin's dad woke him up one night and was like, Justin, come here. Come on, come quick. And they go out and down below or in their living room was Santa. And he goes, how did we get him? And it was this whole experience. And Justin was probably 8, 3rd grade, 4th grade. And so he gets on the bus after this and tells all these kids that no, you guys, I saw Santa. He was so believing in it. Mm-hmm. And all of these kids, Santa's not real, dude. It's your parents. And made fun of him ruthlessly, I guess. And that really traumatized him. So I think, knowing that she's at that age and could face that potential, I think you go to her and you say, can I let you in on a secret? I don't usually keep secrets from you. We're very honest, but something that parents do for their kids to create magic when they're little is this. But you're a big girl now, so we get to let you in on the secret. And if you have kids someday, this is something you would do for your kids. But this is just something that moms, dads, parents do for their kids to create magic. And you just kind of let her in. You reveal the curtain of Oz.
Okay, so that you like that one better than just say,
I was inhibited by the magic. Yeah, it just kind of, it's still kind of a lie.
You do.
It feels,
you find my suggestion is between all this, you find your own answer on how to present it. But yeah, the answer is go ahead and present it.
Mm-hmm.
Let her in on it, but in a way that, she may find the thought she may want to continue the magic a little more. She can make that decision, or she can say, it's time to put that magic, away.
Yeah.
Because some people still love to go do Easter egg hunts, and they love the spirit of the Easter egg hunt. They love the spirit of Christmas, and to think that there's a Santa and to put milk out. We all, like as an adult, we all know that there's no milk and there's no cookies. But sometimes I got to tell you, I've actually put milk and cookies out for fun. I have. It's to me, it's fun. It's festive. And so you have to let the person, especially an 8 or 9-year-old, know that, yeah, but we can still have the fun with it if we choose we want to.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't want to get you in trouble with any of your friends.
Yeah, it'll come to you, but I definitely think 8. It's
a good age.
It's probably the time to come clean, and it's tough. She might be really mad at you, but I think just kind of saying like, this is what parents do for their kids. This is a part of the magic, and it's just, I don't know, it's tough. I would love to hear how other parents have approached this conversation with their kids. And maybe...
How did we approach it with you?
I don't even remember. I really don't.
So it didn't damage you?
I think I started noticing that the handwriting on the presents from Santa was my mom's handwriting, because it's just so pretty. And
that there's no way Santa could have brought all those gifts.
I mean, Santa brought a lot of shit. Santa brought a lot. Too much.
Santa's sleigh was never that big.
Too much. That's the one thing I won't do with my children. I think that
was ridiculous.
I think it just sets a kind of an unfair thing, especially when kids talk. And it's like, well, Santa didn't bring me that much stuff. It's like, make it from you. You work your ass off. Those big gifts, all those presents should be from you. And let Santa bring one little thing for some magic. But don't go crazy on the Santa. You deserve the clout, the recognition.
There you go.
For working your ass off. But
because Santa doesn't drive a FedEx tandem.
Dude.
340-footers.
My mom is definitely, her love language is gift giving. She didn't grow up with a lot. So when it comes to the holidays or presents, she likes to pop off because she wanted to give the kids and, her kids what she didn't have. So she popped off on holidays, man.
It definitely made an effect on her. But when I tell you that she brings 3 FedEx, semis, then trust me, it's not far off.
And it's like, it's not even like, it's not like everything is crazy expensive. Like she'll go to the Dollar Tree or, Target and the bins, and like she'll get you socks, and the socks are individually wrapped. And then she'll get you a cup, and the cup is individually wrapped. She believes that quantity is better than quality. She wants you to really just open.
It is quite an event.
It is an event.
I will say so.
She's so cute.
Well, that's it. That's five little reads.
Yeah.
That's it for the night.
Yeah,
that's
5 all we
episodes.
got.
So
5 episodes, 5 stories.
5 stories. And Santa, if you're out there, Easter Bunny, if you're out there, Tooth Fairy, I believe in you. And on that note, we love you, and we'll see you next week, and head on over to Patreon. Check it out.
Bye.